How do you do smart branding through print? Welcome to Tea at Taxevity, where you get insights from insiders, our many clients and friends. I'm Pramod Sharma, your actuary at Taxevity. I help people transfer financial risks with life and health insurance. Our guest is TM Mahdi. TM, what do you do when you're not being interviewed?
What do I do when I'm being put on the spot?
Yes.
I handle the marketing and engagements for Capiche. And may I say what we are all about? Or
Sure.
Sure. So Capiche is a subscription-based cloud printing service. We specialize in creating stories through print, and actually kind of the series of the topic of today's.
Yeah, so it's a very good fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, you talk about smart branding. What do you mean by that?
Smart branding is really a technique or a process, and how your business can officially connect to your client base or your customer base.
And we'll explore more of that as we go through this.
Exactly.
What are the trends in printing? Because we keep hearing about the paperless office, and I don't know whether printing is going down or whether it's going up, and you'd be well equipped to tell us.
There are trends to any industry. The printing industry has actually picked up since CASL, so the Canadian Anti-Spam Law. It has helped the printing industry quite a bit. There are trends. If we're looking on specifically from the printer standpoint, most printers nowadays are going into packaging or short runs. So short runs being a small quantity job.
What do you consider a short run? Because for me, a short run might be 10 or 100.
In our case, it'd be one.
Oh, one would work. Okay.
Yeah. But in most printers, they're looking at quantities of 250.
Okay.
That would be a short run, maybe 100 here and there. But a typical printer, ideally, they like a quantity of 250. That's a short run. Anything that's usually over than that, you're looking at quantities of 500, 1,000, 30,000. That's large.
Okay. And are there more companies in the printing business today or less?
Depending on the sector they're in, printing comes in arrays of different elements. You have printers that specializes in just doing document printing. You have printers that specializes in substrates or large formats. There are printers for just in labels. So there's a series of different areas that you're looking at. The ones that are up to trend, the ones who are keeping up with the changes of the market, are the ones who are staying, and they're the ones who are growing. The ones who can't adapt are the ones who are closing or being acquired by bigger companies.
Okay. You were kind enough to bring examples of business printing with you, and let's look at a few and then get your thoughts on why you think those are good examples, because I'm sure since you printed them, you think that they're good.
Thanks.
What should we start with?
Well, it can be on any possibility. I believe in the doing more philosophy. So when you're looking at, as a business, a small to medium-sized business, you are focused to what's important to you, which is your brand, your company, and how you can extend it. By being a busy individual yourself, you don't have much time. So you want to make sure that whatever you're working on, whatever you're presenting, has a longer shelf life. So when you do quantities that are more small, short quantities, focus on putting more features or more differences on your job compared to, say, a competitor. So taking an example, we have, in this case, I don't have two simple examples, but they're similar.
Okay, so what you've got here is this thing, and the first thing I notice about it is that it's on a linen type of paper, and the corners are rounded rather than the usual square corners.
Yes. So the stock that we have here is a linen card stock. It's an 80 pound. And linen is a premium paper to most printers, including ourselves. What makes it unique is that how it was used and how this smart branding played a factor. So the one I'm holding on is for CAMP, Canadian Association of Marketing Professionals. And they actually got to know about this specific piece from the one that Pramod is holding.
This one, I've got this one.
The journey so far, which was actually for Draw by Night. If I example Draw by Night better, then I'll.
Okay, so you want me to hold this one up?
Yes.
Okay.
So Draw by Night is a social party for people who love to draw as a pastime. So we handle the printing materials for Draw by Night, and the event was happening downtown in the core of the city, and we had about 3 weeks or so to promote the event. So what you're seeing is actually our own product called a push card.
Okay, I'll give it to you so that you can demonstrate it.
Sure. So this is a push card, and what makes...
I don't know what a push card is.
Yeah, so I'm going to explain.
Okay.
A push card is a way that you can actually extend the story behind your event, your product, to your ideal customer by having the unique features around the card itself and the type of paper that you're using and the messaging on it. It gives it a completely different story. The next level is the engagement. Where are you putting it? So we printed about 450 of these, and we put about, on average, 7 to about 13 in select stores and restaurants. Number is odd for a specific reason. If someone looks at something on a countertop that has an even number or a quantity of an even number, they show less interest in picking it up.
It almost looks like no one has taken any.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Okay.
When you go with an odd number, you're literally have pushed it to them.
Interesting.
So now they grab it. They don't say, "Oh, I'll come back to it," because they might be gone. So they'll grab it. The other factor behind it is what we have behind.
Yeah, it looks like a coupon or something.
Exactly. So we did 7 different type of cards of this, each for each sponsor. So in this case, Oddbee Designs. Oddbee is a design company, design agency, and so we used their name and then associated what they're all about.
Okay, so you printed 450 of each of these, or 450 in total?
In total.
Oh, I see. So you did have some fairly short runs then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The unique factor behind it is that anybody who picked it up automatically can go to the website, put in the code, and was inserted into a lucky draw for an Adobe product. In addition, they received a discount to the event. This process, with the select businesses that we put into it, increased the sales to the event by about 37%.
Okay.
We also looked at what type of businesses we're going to be distributing. Because of its shape and oddness,
right,
a lot of businesses accepted it. It's not a postcard. It's not something similar to a card like this, which you'll see a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that's like a standard postcard.
Exactly. If you see this on a countertop, you don't pick it up as much. You might grab it, but the chances are you don't keep it as much because it's an odd shape. You can't really put it in the back of your pocket, or you can fold it. It adds a different level to it. Whereas something like this, which is almost half or less than half of the actual postcard size, it has that level of pushing to them. It's kept directly to their hearts.
Oh, interesting.
And when you go to businesses and distribute a number of these to them, You also select the type of businesses you want, because the type of business you want are really, you're looking at what clientele they have, and if
Right.
that clientele is fitting to the audience of your event. This event is a drawing event. So we, for example, would not want to go to a greasy spoon restaurant, because that would be
No stereotypes here, right?
no. Just saying, So a burrito place, for example, would work really well for this.
Okay.
Because you're working with your hands a lot. You're
I
eating
see.
with your hands.
Right.
A lot of people go to a burrito restaurant or the burrito cafe, enjoy the arts. And this is an artistic-based event. So you have to connect it that way, and that's where you're giving another level of pushing.
Can we look at another example of printing?
Sure. So usually in every year, a good example would be calendars. Printers do quite a bit of those. Businesses do quite a bit of those.
Right.
But there's a difference between a calendar that you put on your wall, or which has one purpose, to give you information about dates and imagery. The other is something that gives you resources and tools. So this would be an interesting example. This is a tabletop financial calendar that we did for this company, True Financial. And it's ideal in so many ways, because as a company themselves, they focus in educating their customers with reminders on what's happening in specific months regarding your finances. And it's a great piece because they distribute this to a select customers who can have this at their home or at their office. And it's great branding in that perspective, because it's unique, it's different, it's not something that hangs on your wall.
Yeah, that's not something that you're going to throw away.
Exactly. And if you look at it, it's a great example of a better brochure.
Yeah, because I understand that you're not a big fan of brochures. Now, why is that? Because I see brochures all over the place.
Yes. So brochures are a printer's favorite piece because it's the best profit maker. In our case, it doesn't help your brand. Most brochures that you receive, you really think about it, where does it usually go? You'll look at a brochure briefly, you get that information a tiny bit, you fold it, you put it in a pocket, a back pocket, or in the end, where does it go? In the trash. Brochures can be done in so many different ways. If you look at the standard style brochure, the chances are you're wasting your money. But if you go with something that's different, that connects to your brand, to your story, then that's a smarter brochure. An example would be, this is a brochure that we haven't done yet, but it's in talks. It's for a company that specializes in transforming your second marriages to forever honeymoons.
Oh, I'm still on my first marriage.
So, and brochures, can be placed in your business. They can be placed in an event or a countertop in any other establishment. In their case, we were looking at how can you make your booth stand out most. Because you're offering a very unique service, we want to create a story. How can you connect easier to your or better to your ideal customer? In the cases of this client, their ideal customers are men, and they're looking to connect directly to the men demographic. By doing so, we would take a typical um, pocket size pocket, which is, if I remember correctly, is about 3 inches in width, 4 inches down. So just around that, it will be the size of your brochure. You'll open it up into more of a
Accordion.
yeah, exactly, accordion.
Okay.
Sorry, it happens. So you open it up, and it basically becomes a multiple fold
Accordion.
accordion.
Yeah. Okay.
template. The same thing is that it has rounded corners. The idea is that the company who's talking to each individual shares a story about their company, about their product, but also plays around with the brochure itself, touching each side while there's a connection, an eye connection.
Okay, that's really interesting. Now, what can people do to get more value out of their printing dollars?
One great way of doing it is focusing on the size, the dimensions.
Okay, so make things bigger so they stand out more?
The opposite, actually.
Make them smaller so that you can't see them?
It's a good point. Making them smaller, but focusing on the features itself. So smaller means you use up most of your sheet. Smaller also means gives you the opportunity and the finances and the budget that you can actually put money aside on better paper, more rounded corners, or a straight cut similar to something like this. Adding more folds, just making it different than most print jobs.
Okay, so you're saying that having those features has more impact than the actual size.
Exactly. When something is different, people want to keep. If it's something that looks like anybody else's, chances are it'll be in the trash.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. What's your key message for the people watching?
Eat salad.
Okay, eat salad. That's one we've never had before. Do you have any key messages relating to printing, perhaps?
I go with this. So basically it says, do more good printing, not more printing. And by doing that, you're actually focusing on your brand, you're focusing on your message. You are creating a true story between what your company is all about and your ideal market. Always create stories because people love stories. And if you can connect that to your printing, it will really help on your brand and how you can stand out most.
Okay, what's the best way for people to reach you?
Actually, directly from the website. And they can go to a website, kopish.com. Best way to search for it is just simply say Kopish Prints, because there's so many ways of spelling Kopish, and you'll find us pretty easily.
Thanks very much for dropping by.
Thank you.